told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Welcome to A Perfect Match, where today we'll be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 6. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, someone I will never forget about, no matter how hard I bro out with my boys, Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
Hi, Jason. I'm doing great. I am so excited to talk about this episode. And I just want to make sure you remember what we talked about pre-show, okay? Every time we get on here, you say all these bad words. So pre-show, I said, hey, can you chill out? Let's, can we not?
Hey, that's funny because in real life, Aysha is the one that's cussing all the time. She is just bleep this, bleep, bleep, bleep with the racial slurs, with all of the thing. I'm the one that always has to be like, "You're Aysha, like calm down. You can't bring this onto the podcast. You can't bring this type of energy. Stop cussing," as Michelle said.
Right.
You cuss a lot.
Oh, I'm sure I need all you listeners to know that that's all a lie in case anyone's like, dang, I didn't know that about Aysha.
You should hear pre-show Aysha. Pre-show Aysha is so different than this, like, it's nice, polite Aysha you see on the podcast. Real life Aysha, I tell you, a monster. You'd be surprised.
Just like a little sailor.
Yeah, let's just say, like, there's gonna be something that's gonna come out about Aysha one day, and everybody's gonna be surprised. Like,
crap this,
Aysha Welch?
Crap that,
mother crapper.
Mother crapper. You lent liquor.
I used to love that commercial.
Right.
What were the other ones? I forgot what the other ones are.
I know, because she started with that, and then
that was the most memorable.
You lent liquor.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my gosh. But yes, welcome. We are going to be talking about episode 6 of this show. I can't believe we're already at episode 6. That means we've been talking about this for 6 weeks. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, and we're just leaving the honeymoon. Finally getting back home.
We say it every season. How long are we going to spend before we start the experiment?
At least we're not deluding ourselves, being like, this feels like they've gone home faster now.
Yeah.
It feels like it's like we're speeding things up. No, we're not gonna get us again. We know
right.
It takes so
Episode
long.
15. We are just doing the welcome home parties.
We get our first expert visit on episode 15.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the ending of the honeymoon. Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed where you can get all of our podcasts about Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, The Show, The Perfect Match. And make sure wherever you go listen to your podcast, you leave us a 5-star rating and review. We love seeing y'all's thoughts about what we have to say about this show. We will shout you out if you give us a 5-star rating and review. And we have a couple to shout out today. So the first one is from Cookie1093. Says, great podcast. And said, I started watching this season of Married at First Sight based on Jason's recommendation.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing a listener.
Hey, I'm always working. I'm always working for this podcast.
Day and night.
Yeah.
That viewers, okay, let me start over. I started watching this season of MAFS based on Jason's recommendation that viewers who like Love is Blind will also like MAFS. I'm really enjoying this show so far and can't wait to find out what happens with the couples. Aysha and Jason are so funny and have great podcast chemistry. I love it when Mari joins too. Thanks for the recommendation. Wow.
You're so welcome, Cookie. I'm glad that I can bring a new realm of nonsense and mess to your life. You're very, very welcome. I always try and do my job and make sure that people are listening to our podcast. Unlike some people who, you wouldn't even know they did a podcast about Married at First Sight. They got a national platform on a national show, but I don't think I've seen a tweet about this show. Give you time. You got voted out already.
There's so much going on.
gosh. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to do a review from KJoy2209. It's entitled Love You Guys. Hands down, my fave MAFS podcast. Side note, what other MAFS podcasts are there out there? I don't know.
Rewind to what? Episode 2 where you
I
just danced your way
I don't
over
know
to
what,
another.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Back to the review. Anyway, I am loving the addition of Mari for this season. Oh, sorry, Mari is not here today. The three of you are so funny together. Okay, everybody be prepared. This is the best part of the review. Jason is my dude. I definitely find myself agreeing with his take on almost everything. Only thing missing is your opinions on the after party episodes. I need to hear what you guys think about the droplets of tea we have been getting. Maybe you guys can start the next episode by discussing the after party from a week before. Just a thought.
I like that thought.
Yeah, this does bring up a good point. As some people have noticed and have, we've heard things in the Facebook group about it. We haven't talked about a lot about after party this season. It's just the fact that the schedule and the logistics of when we can record the podcast and all that good stuff has prevented us from watching after party and talking about it on the podcast. I myself have been watching after parties after the fact. Aysha has not, because she's not as dedicated as I am.
I mean, hearing that they're an hour.
Yeah, they're doing that thing where they have two groups of people come in over an hour, and it's like, okay, you went back to 2 hours. I don't know if we're going back to an hour and a half at some point after we get all the front stuff out of the way, because I think they did it last season. But hopefully you get back down to an hour and a half at some point. And then the after parties are an hour. That's a 3-hour viewing experience. And like
and
I said,
that's
just
already
the way,
a lot for like when they used to do that for the premiere. And now you're doing it every episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just the
Is
way.
it not a school night?
For real? Like someone's got just come on, you gotta get up early. Yeah, but just the way you've been recording the podcast, we haven't been able to get in after party before we record. But that's a good idea. If we get anything good on the after party from the week before, we will talk about it a little bit once we get into the next episode. I do have a little bit of we got a little bit of something from Thomas and Camille, so we get into them. We'll talk a little bit about the after party. What came out in the after party last week.
Yes. And so thank you so much for those 2 reviews. We'll definitely shout y'all out as they come in along the season. Also go join our Facebook group. We have a great time over there talking about the episode as it happens, and then just talking about any and everything MAFS related or Love is Blind updates. It's just like a nice little community of people.
Bruh, I literally Love is Blind is so out of my mind now. Like I don't like it's almost as if every Love is Blind season ends and the men and black people come and just neuralize us after like 3 weeks. It's like, do you remember what happened to Love is Blind season 7? I'm like, you know what? Now that you say that, I completely have forgotten everything that happened that season. It's as if it happened 3 years ago at this point.
The only reason I'm so tapped in is because TikTok keeps me abreast to the latest updates.
Yeah, I don't even know what's been going on. The last I heard was something about Ashley going on a podcast and really not.
And since Tyler has gone on a podcast where the podcast host was like holding him to it. He's like, yeah, it was something like Tyler was like, yeah, I just want, that family to just like leave me alone.
No, bro, that's your family.
Yeah, no, he was like, but like not the kid. Like, I don't, when I say that, I don't mean the kids. The guy was like, the kids are like that family. So what do you mean?
Part of this. Like,
yeah. He was holding him accountable, but in a very professional way. He was like, I'm gonna leave y'all to make your own judgments on his answers to my questions, but I'm gonna ask him the questions.
I'm gonna need that.
I'll send it to you.
The one I heard from Ashley was basically like, without saying it, was just like, F them kids. I don't care about them kids at all. Like that's the sentiment that I got from Ashley on that. But anyway, that's Love is Blind. Yeah. We're not here to talk about that.
That's the kind of stuff that we could talk deeper about on our Facebook group. So if you go join our Facebook group, look up A Perfect Match Podcast. And there is a password to join. So this week the password is
Asia came up with this one, y'all. Eat my honey pack. Asia. Oh my gosh. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is the pre-show Asia.
Lying to our listeners.
This is the pre-show Asia y'all are just not getting to see. I'm just telling you. And she tried to put it on me because I'm the one that says the password, but I just needed to let y'all know that wasn't me. That was her.
I can't remember who I said this about on Love is Blind, but I was like, it was one of these shows, but I was like, not only are you weird, but you're a liar.
There could be many of people on any of these shows.
I know, right? I'm like, I literally can't remember who that was.
There's at least 3 people you can say that about on every season of every show we've ever talked about.
Right. So yes, make sure you go join the Facebook group. We have a fun time over there. But without further ado, let's talk about these couples.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's a trend. We've been getting Thomas and Camille out the way real early because they are our shining stars so far. But they did they hit a little itty bitty road bump this episode, so we're gonna talk a little bit about.
It's
that.
like one of those road bumps that's so small that you could hit it going like 40.
Yeah, you got to slow down. Yeah. That's like the little speed bump they put in because like some kid got hit and they're like, we'll put something in.
We'll do
something. So just to make y'all happy. But it's like just a little raise. It's like like
a lip, but
I'm not gonna feel it. Yeah. So we start with them. They're taking a salsa class. And I said this is a big test for any MAFS couple because we have seen some supreme
the best of
meltdowns.
The best.
Yeah. We have seen meltdowns on these salsa / dance classes we've had on these honeymoons. I think one of the most memorable ones was Vincent and Brianna. How he was just
12.
He was sweating through his shirt. He just was not getting it, and that was one of the few like really terrible moments that Vinny had on that season. He was he was not feeling it at all. But we've had other couples that it's a big test, usually for the guy that doesn't go well for. So he says, you know what? He said, I set this up for them. Go ahead and say that, Aysha, in the Thomas voice.
How you set it up for me? You said that in the exact moment I realized I didn't have their pictures up. So I was scrambling over here.
Mama Welch is gonna get you.
I know. Speaking of, she is downstairs as we speak. So she could. She's. I hear her coming up the stairs. Put that picture up.
She somehow has a live stream of this. She's watching it downstairs.
Somehow she is watching this live, even though you cannot view this live. She figured out a way. But where are we at?
He set up the dance class. I just want you to say, I set up the dance class for me and Camille.
Oh yeah. So I decided to set up some salsa lessons for us, so she she can see me take the lead.
Yeah. Yes. Quote unquote, he set this up, not production,
right?
So that she could see that he was assertive and was able to take the lead. He really wants to impress her. He is nervous. He's going to look like a little bit of a goofball. He does okay. He doesn't do terribly. He doesn't.
Yeah, no, you could just tell he was focused.
Yeah. He's got a little bit of a 2 left feet at first, but I think they get it eventually. They start dancing well together. In a confessional, she says his dancing is unique, but he is trying, and that's all that matters. I didn't realize how tall Camille was because I know we know Thomas is a pretty tall guy, and even without like her heels on, she was like pretty much up to his head. I was like, I didn't realize Camille was so tall. But yeah, so they're dancing together. They start to get it. And of course, you get the whole slow-mo cam of them dancing together, and it's such a nice, sweet moment for them. The next scene we get is they're waking up the next day. I've said it 1,000 times. I love the fact that you just like make these scenes up, like, oh, we woke up today. Oh my gosh! Oh, there's a camera here. Oh, hey, camera. So Thomas is getting up and he bumps into a lamp because he can't see because of glasses on.
The way I hit the rewind button, watched it, laughed, hit the rewind button, watched it, laughed. I think I watched it maybe 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't find it that funny.
I bust out laughing.
You just love seeing Thomas get hurt. Okay.
No, it was just it was out of nowhere.
Or that pre-show Aysha coming in. She loves people getting hurt.
He literally just didn't see it. Like it wasn't like it was swinging and it kind of caught him. Like he said, "Don't."
They do have like a nice banter about it. He's like, "Oh, I didn't have my glasses on." She's like, "Oh yeah, I should make funny because you have your glasses on." There's just like a nice little back and forth they had. Like it was like an old married couple type of banter, type of exchange they had going on. They're getting ready for the day. He shows her the outfits he wants to wear. She helps him choose what to wear. She brings up the lingerie that we saw earlier, and she says, I still haven't cracked that out. It still might show up one of these nights. I don't know. And, he makes sure to tell her, listen, it's up to you at your comfort level. Like, that's what you want to do. Like, I'm here for it, but it's all about what you're comfortable with.
And I think this is just such a fine line, right? Like, he's doing the right thing by allowing her the freedom to do what she wants, right? Like, he's not like pushing.
He's not pestering her about it. Yeah,
he's not pestering her.
She's like, so I haven't seen that lingerie that you put out.
Like, when you gonna break it out?
Yeah, I gotta match you. When you gonna pull out that lingerie you talked about earlier? Like, how's that?
Right.
Still need to work on it. Oh man, I gotta hit the tone.
I know, and maybe you just naturally have already too much bass in your voice.
Yeah, I think I'm too and close to him voice, already. Yeah,
it's like he feels like he's bringing it down.
It's very nasally as well. Like I can't hone in on it right. Yeah. But I like that he's not talking about it so much. He's like, can't wait to see the lingerie you were talking about the other day.
Right, but I also can see in this moment, it's kind of like she still wants him to, like, this is a moment for him to kind of like show that, like, not take the lead in a sense of like, hey, tonight you're putting that on, but in a way of just like, she wants to see him show the effort to like, that he wants to see it.
Yeah, she wants to know that he's excited and he wants to see it. He doesn't want to be like, well,
not like, do what
if you want to or not. Yeah. Like, I want to be like, no, I hope that you really want to put it on at some point because I really
like, I can't wait to see you in that.
I'd love to see you in that. Yeah. Like,
don't get me wrong. You do it when you want, but I want to see you in that.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, that's fine with me. I have no qualms at all. I get it.
I have no
anyway,
qualms at all.
Oh my god, it infuriates me every time you get it right.
It's for me because it's wild because he is Thomas, right? Mm-hmm. But when he speaks, I just think Elizabeth Holmes.
Yes. There you go.
And so it's just like, there's like, she didn't sound like that, and maybe I don't know, and I'm sure he does sound like this, but it's just what I have to channel.
That's a perfect comparison. So she talks about lingerie. She says, it still might come out, still have time. He says, in confessional, she says they've already had good moments and great talks, but they're still trying to navigate the physical side of things. She comments that he's a little bit more suburban than she's used to. She's used to more city guys with R&B smoothness. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Put a pin in that because that will come back. The next scene we get of them is very weird. It starts out with a diary cam from Thomas, and those are always fun because they never know how to shoot them. I think you commented the other week that he doesn't know how to shoot himself with a camera. Yes. He's just like
bottom up. Yeah. If you're watching YouTube, Jason did the exactly how his cameras look.
I've just been me and Camille had to talk.
Right. Think chin up, the most unflattering view of any human. I don't think there is anyone in the world that's their best angle. But somehow he has consistently done it.
Yeah, so we get his diary cam. He talks about the fact that him and Camille had a talk, and she kind of let him know that he is not the typical guy that she usually goes for. He says their upbringings are definitely different. She's had more Black culture in her upbringing. And he talks about the fact that he's been through this before. He's heard this from women before. He hasn't taken it personally in the past, but because this is so real, he's taking it seriously now. His feelings kind of hurt by it. As he says, this ain't play. It's for real.
It's for real.
That was what I wanted the face and password to be. This ain't play. I forgot about that. I forgot play. He says, he's just he's in his feels a little bit about what she said. And all we really get from Camille in this is like B-roll of her walking. And like going into the room. The camera people were so pissed they didn't get anything about this interaction. They're just like, how are we going to make this, like, what's Camille going to be doing? Like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, her just walking around looking like she's maybe a little upset or something. This is probably just some random footage of her walking.
Yeah. I think I think this is like the moment that Camille finally was able to put words to what she was feeling, because we've heard these different variations of just like, oh, I'm just trying to see how we vibe, or like
Yeah.
even what you just said with the last scene of, oh, I'm used to more city, he's more suburban, and then it
Right.
finally got,
And she just won't say, I'm used to more black guys. Like
yeah.
guys that are like black
Did
black to
she?
be black.
Right. She said like the culture is different.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, we do see that, like, and that can, because when I think of, yeah, you don't have to have the same culture, but and we talked about it at length last season with Lauren and Orion, where it's like, even if you are just so, you're proud of the culture that you do have, as long as you're like embracing each other's culture. I think it's just that she saw Thomas and thought, oh, we're there, and had that assumption. And then as she has gotten to know him, she's like, wait, we're not there. Like, I
Yeah.
may have to explain things to him that I thought I didn't have to explain. And so now she's just having to kind of shift her perspective. It's definitely not a deal breaker by any means, but I think it's like she's finally realized, like, she had put that assumption on him, and now she's learning, oh wait, we can't relate in that way.
Yeah, I'm sure as they are getting to know each other and are talking about their interests and like let's say like movies, television shows, music they listen to,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're noticing those differences and upbringing about things that they are used to and things that they have watched, seen, and it's not matching up. So I
Right.
think that's an issue. That's a little bit of an issue, but that can
Yeah,
also be. Or go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's kind of like they're talking about like, oh, like what sitcoms you watch growing up. She's like, oh, I love Living Single. He's like, oh, I love Friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And
Yeah.
it's like, but that can be a good thing though, too, because it can be an opportunity to learn and
Yeah.
to like exchange different parts of culture that the other person wasn't used to and open them up to new things. It's just you have to be open to that. You have to be
Willing.
right. You have to be open to new ideas and new things to watch and new things.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
think any two cultures can gel well. Not obviously not any two cultures, but I feel like in the context of this, like where he has grown up with a more, like he was raised in, I guess if you can say, white culture, whereas
yeah,
she has black culture. And I think as long as she sees his willingness to learn and adapt and like learn about, the things that she's into, and she's also willing to learn about the things that he's into, they can meet in the middle easily.
yeah, exactly. It also made me think like, is Camille putting on like not being as real as she could be with us?
Yes, I think
Uh,
so. That's what
yeah,
I've been saying the past like 3 weeks. I'm like, I feel like we need to see the real Camille, because there's moments where I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like she's holding back.
yeah, because I mean, this is a conversation that happened off camera for a reason. And, it's like it's maybe she's
Yeah,
uncomfortable talking about it on camera the way she talked about it in private with him. So I'm just wondering, yeah, because I mean, Camille does seem like a little too buttoned up and a little too proper while she's talking to us, the audience and the cameras and whatnot. So I was just wondering, like, does she need to bring more of herself out into the open for us, the people?
right. And it also could just be like being in front of the cameras too. That just could be another thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, I feel like the Camille we see on camera would easily gel with the Camille, or the Camille that would instantly hit it off with Thomas, which
mhm.
is why I think like she's having this internal struggles, because she's like, she's not being able to be her full authentic self because,
I think she's being authentic. I just think she's not being as loose as she could be. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like she may be code switching a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good word to put on it. Yeah, code switching
Yeah.
is a good way to put it, especially as she talks about how Thomas is more suburban than she's used to. I'm like, well, I'm looking like I'm looking at you, Kimmy. I'm like, I would say you were pretty like suburban if we're putting it
Right.
into
Like,
those
what
terms.
suburban are we,
Right.
thinking of?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'm just wondering if like we can see a little bit more of the like behind the scenes Camille, hopefully as we go along.
Yeah.
But the next day, they're on a little walk around the complex, the resort, whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
In a confessional, she does talk about the conversation they had about their cultural differences. He talks to her about how he grew up. He says, I grew up in an environment with few black kids, and the black kids that I would meet, I would get picked on because I wasn't quote unquote black enough for them. He talks about how his dad helped him and his brother overcome those obstacles. He says, that struggle has really given him empathy for people. He says, not everyone comes from the same place. We can all learn from each other. Camille just say, she's sorry that it's a soft spot for him, as she had to go through all that he had to go through all that. He says it helps him realize that he didn't have to prove anything to anyone. He's always going to be true to himself. He doesn't need to impress anyone. In confessional, she says that his great qualities are coming to her in a package that she may not be used to, and she can't put her bias and preferences onto Thomas. He tells her that his dad was the backbone of his family, and he knows he needs to step up, and he needs to step up more and be that in his relationships. But this is a very mature conversation, and they both heard each other out and heard what the other one was saying. I feel like in other relationships we've seen that Camille may take this as defensive and come at it a certain way, but I feel like she handled this in a really good way.
Yeah, I think their conversations continue to prove how mature they are. Because we may forget that they're he's what, 41, 42.
Yeah, 10 year age difference. Yeah, 32,
yeah, she's
42.
a mature 32. And so yeah, we're the same age. And I'm a mature 32 too.
Right. Totally.
But I think it just continuing to show one, they're both here for the right reason. They genuinely want to make this work. They're not here for just oh, I just want to be on TV, or I'm just doing this to try it out. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me from them that that's why we label them as our quote unquote boring couple of the season, because they are just handling everything so maturely.
Yeah, I felt for Thomas in this situation because I've been that person, right? I've been into an environment where I haven't been black enough. I haven't talked the way other kids talked when I was younger, and I was it was said that I wasn't quote unquote black enough because of this and that. So I really felt for him in that moment. And talking about his family too, talking about the after party last week. And just a little bit of a clarification from last week, as he said, we heard the story of his mother had posted about him being adopted. He didn't know he was adopted. He was in his 30s. After party, he clarified this a little bit while also making it very much more confusing. He said the person that posted that was not the mother that raised him, but his dad's first wife.
Yeah.
So I was so did your dad and this woman adopt you? Because you sure did say she was your mother on the show. So did dad and this woman adopt, and then dad and that person split up, and then dad and the mother that raised him get together? Bro, how many mothers do you have? Save some for the rest of us. At this point, I'm counting 3 mothers so far. Your bio mom, your adopted mom that raised you, and the mom that actually adopted
dad's
you.
Dad's first wife. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm something is very off here. I need a documentary about Thomas's family tree and family situation.
And now it definitely that cleared up nothing. Actually, if I didn't know that information, I would be more clear on the story.
Yeah. Because we just at first thought that the mom that we saw in the first episode was just really weird for just posting that her sons were adopted without him knowing. But apparently that was not the woman. It was a different woman that posted that. Okay. So yeah, if we ever get Thomas on the podcast, that's the first question I'm gonna ask. So we get a whole group dinner with everyone. Of course, this is all the the last day of the. Was this the last? Which was the group dinner? Was this group dinner after? Yes,
this was the last day of the
yes. We had a last
honeymoon.
Day in Cancun. Everyone gets together. Of course, they got to talk about all their issues and what they hope for the future. In this little group outing, Thomas does. They talk a little bit about their relationship. He says, we thought we would be too much alike, but we are discovering our differences and how we're going to navigate that. Camille says their core values do align, but it's about seeing more than the physical and getting to know each other. It takes a conscious effort to connect on more than just the physical. Thomas talks about moving in. He says he knows there are going to be some things that get on each other's nerves, and they're going to have to work through that and kind of navigate those differences. We get to the room after the dinner last night in Cancun. We get back to the room, and before Thomas lets Camille go, he says, "Wait a minute, give me a second. I gotta do something." He goes in the room and he puts down a bunch of rose petals. He makes a heart on the bed, and he lets her in. And it's a very romantic thing. She's very impressed. He tells her, he really wants to recreate the wedding night. In a confessional, she does say that there's more to be discovered in each other, but he does have a lot of qualities that she needs, even some that she didn't know she needed. So we're getting ready for bed. He's in his bed finest, his t-shirt and his I don't know, boxers. I don't know what he's in, his shorts or something. And I think he was maybe expecting to see the red lingerie, since this is the last night in Cancun. But she does come out in just a regular nightshirt. She tells him, I know it's not the lingerie that I have been talking about this whole trip. They sit down. He says, we're doing great, but we still need to do more for me to feel comfortable getting to that level yet. He again tells her, it's fine. He doesn't want to rush things, and they will just go with the flow. They go to bed. They they kiss goodnight and turn the lights out. And I just assume the cameraman sat there all night as they went to sleep
until they woke up. Yeah,
until they woke up. But yeah, that was them.
I thought it was sweet that he did the whole rose petal thing. He was in a very Thomas way, right? Like really awkward. Wait a second, I need to go in first.
Yeah, it's like she's just standing outside the room, what is going on? What is this?
Right. He could have been like, wait a second, I have something for you, and then she's like, ooh, what is it? That's exciting, but he just made it seem like he had to go.
Yeah, he was like, I'm hot and sweaty or something. He said, as if he wanted to change out. I need to go in first because I'm sweaty. He's like, all right, come on in.
Yeah, it was a sweet gesture for sure. That's definitely a step to take in showing I want to romance you. I want to woo you. I really want us to get to a place where we are showing that interest in one another. But I do think her coming out in that shirt had to be that had to be a clear indicator. A clear indicator to him of where she sees that they're at, right? Mm-hmm. Look, I've been telling you this whole honeymoon, and I'm break this out. Look at us last night, and I'm in a t-shirt.
Look at us now. I'm in this regular t-shirt. Aren't you disappointed? And it was the setup was so interesting because we see Thomas waiting outside the bathroom door, just expecting something, and she just comes out in the regular shirt. It's just ooh, that's tough. That's rough. I know what you were expecting.
Ooh, I love this. To her shirt.
Yeah, this is really great.
This is amazing.
This is fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted to see when you came out of that door. Nothing else. Yeah, I had no expectations.
There's a way to do it, obviously, but I just think he needs to be a little bit more forward with her and take more of that initiative.
She want that roughneck. Stop being so nice. She's got that Madison in her. Stop being a pushover.
Because the hard part is, you can tell that she actually finds how sweet he is endearing. Mm-hmm. So it's where do you find the balance? You don't want to start saying these things to make him think you want to change him, but that's what she personally needs to get there and be yes, I am reciprocating. I do want to be physical.
Yeah, I think he just needs to crank that dial 2 notches over.
Yeah,
being a little more assertive, being a little more telling her what he wants. Just pop it up 2 notches. Don't go to 11. Just go to you're at a 3 right now. Go to a 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what she needs from him, and she wants. He's being very, very, very respectful. Which,
yes.
On one hand, is great fantastic. I mean, listen, if all men out there could be as respectful as Thomas, we'd be in a better world.
Yes.
But you can spice it up a tinge. You can spice it up a bit. Let her know that you like her. Let her know that you are digging what she's working with. Let her know in a good way that you are down. You're down to clown, as it were.
Right.
So yeah, this is the episode where we're leaving Cancun, we're going home to Chicago.
I was like, we got some time left. We're gonna see them move into their apartments. Okay.
Barely. But no, we do this every season though. Like, it's always weird to me how this is how they
we get that first dinner.
Yeah, it's like, why aren't we like just starting next episode with them moving in? Like, it's such a weird thing to watch them move in with 5 minutes left in the episode. So yeah, of course we have to get to everyone's kind of quirky, living habits and what they expect out of their living mate. For Thomas and Camille, talk about what's the poop etiquette? Like, what's that about? What are we gonna do? Listen, that's very important. Poop etiquette. You got to figure out what you're gonna do, because I mean, after a certain point when you're married, it's just like, whatever, bro. I don't care if you smell me. I don't care if you smell what I'm doing. It's all good. Not worried about it. Yeah, but when they do get home, they sit down and talk. She's like, so how are you feeling? Like, are you freaking out like I am? He says, he feels oddly comfortable with her. He knows it's going to be weird for her because she's never lived with a man before. He says, I just
which
need
is the story for every wife
a lot of people. Right? For a lot of people, it's their first time living with a man. We get it.
Ew.
Ew, man, gross. Right. So dirty and smelly. Ew.
How do you live with a man?
Ew. He says, listen, I just need you to always be direct with me. Don't be afraid to offend me. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page about how we feel about things. So don't hide anything. Let me know what you're thinking. She says, she wants there to be no question about what each other's thinking. So they're on the same page with that. He says, yeah, because I've had issues in the past where I would leave situations and not come back because I didn't know what was going on. And he says, it's okay for things to be rough. It's how you grow. And the ending is they both say they feel good about this right now. So we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was them. What are you thinking about for your rating?
So last week, I was at a 4. You and Mari were at a 5. I think this was our first sign of like quote unquote conflict, right? We see that they resolved it very well, but I also don't want them to get trapped in this, like, how do we progress? Like, I don't need it to be like, oh, we have to make it all the way to Dr. Pepper's intimacy exercises to be like, oh, now we're going to make out.
We do like it because we got a still to come instead of a next episode on.
Yes.
So we saw a little bit of them doing some intimacy exercises. So I'm wondering if that is part of y'all are at a point where you should be doing it, but you're not doing it. So we're going to try and jumpstart you doing it.
Right.
So that we've had that many times in the past with the couples that seem to get along well. They just haven't taken that leap.
Yeah.
So we could definitely be in that territory with them this season.
Yeah. So because of that, I'm going to maintain my 4, only because I just want to see, like, once he starts showing that like ability to give her what she needs to be able to like, be like, okay, I'm seeing it. Like, I see that he wants me and I can reciprocate. So right now I'm gonna stay at my 4.
Yeah. I'm going to stay at my 5. So like you said, they had some conflict and they resolved it very well. So I think if they keep that attitude going, they could very well be on the path to success. I don't know because I also think in the preview we saw a little bit about her saying he needs more swag. That's what she's missing from him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Thomas. Watch some BET. I don't know. Watch some Tyler Perry movies.
No, because then that would take him down a different path. I maybe watch some. You gotta start with like what we were like raised on. Like, Go watch some Martin. Go watch some Girlfriend.
I know Martin. I know Martin is the one.
Okay.
I know we don't want him to act like Martin all the time. Like Martin had some interesting views.
Okay, what about A Different World?
A Different World's good. You get you
Okay.
some Wayne in your life.
Yeah. Like you don't have to act like them. Just
Yeah.
that's just embrace. Maybe one-on-one. I don't know. That's a stretch.
One-on-one. You love one-on-one. You were just one.
I like Kyla Pratt. Okay?
Just because you think you look like Kyla Pratt, it's like doesn't mean you have to talk about one-on-one every time Black sitcoms come up.
You know she's gonna be on Special Forces. I might actually watch for the first time.
Oh my god! Special Forces, World's Toughest Test.
Number one, Kyla Pratt stand number. Yeah, she is. She put it on Instagram.
I'm just glad Mari's not here with us this week because y'all two would gang up on me on the one-on-one love. Boy, I remember me and Mari and Chappelle did the greatest Black sitcom theme songs.
Yeah.
She had the nerve to push for one-on-one. Come on.
I can't even sing it.
I know. Yeah, I know.
It's so far like down my memory.
But
sister.
On one.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, Cousin Skeeter won that whole thing.
Which after I like talked to y'all about that, and I was like, what? And I went and listened. I was like, okay, that was a bop.
Certified bop. We had no idea going into that Cousin Skeeter was going to win the whole thing. Yeah. But that is what it is. Anyway, yes, 5 for Thomas and Camille. For me, 4 for you.
Yes,
because you're wrong. But yeah.
All right, let's go to the next couple. Let's talk about some MM and Ikechi. These
talk about talking a lot and not saying anything, because I feel
talk
like
about a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, I just feel like we're just filling the space with words, and we're not getting anywhere really. Like it's just a lot of talking.
Right. So they're on the balcony, and he's like, "Yeah, we talked a lot about doing. We've been talking about this balcony a lot. He had some shots out there for them to take, and so." They're like, they sit down and talk, and they're like, yeah, so like we got intimacy. And I want to know what intimacy do they got?
I was like, oh, did something happen? Did we get down to business? Is Pastor Kyle going to be happy? But no, they didn't do the thing.
Yeah. Well, they're saying they haven't, right? But they also, I'm starting to believe them, but I'm also thinking that they think because they're comfortable around each other, that's intimacy.
Yeah, she says that the fact that he pays attention to her cues and is caring, that is intimacy for her. Yeah. I was like, is it? Like,
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, we can't label everything intimacy, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, there's certain things that fit in the intimacy box. I don't know if that works.
Right. Let's check it real quick. Okay. Intimacy is a feeling of closeness and connection with another person and can be emotional, physical, or both. So I think what she's describing is like she's feeling this emotional intimacy. But I think what we're finding is like, okay, yeah, physical intimacy aside, with the emotional intimacy, it feels like they're still trying to get deep. So I'm kind of like wondering, how are they qualifying this emotional intimacy? Is just because they feel close to each other?
How deep have we really gotten? Like how? Because it doesn't feel like we've gone that deep. There's a moment coming up that makes me question how deep they've really gone.
Oh, just one?
One big one that I think you'll agree with as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yes, like you said, she did say he creates a safe space and like pays attention to her cues. And he said he just wants her to be good. Like that's his main objective, is just for her to be good. And he's like, what brings her joy? And she said like, oh, progression in my business. Like that's brought me a lot of joy more than anything, because we do know about her that's like, she has been like basically married to her career for so long. And she has really become like really, she has gained a lot of success in her own right, because she's been so focused on her career. And so she's like, what brings you joy? He was like, my brother had a child and I'm really excited to meet her. Listen, I am not going to be that guy every week that is just trying to come after Ikechi, but I just have thoughts and things to say. which I feel like every time, even in this moment, like what brings you joy specifically, KG? Because like even for me, I have a goddaughter. Like it's my cousin's daughter.
She don't bring me joy.
She does.
Help that
She
kid.
brings me a lot of joy. I love her so much. She is so great. She brings
But
me a
she
lot
don't
of
bring me
joy.
joy.
But it's like
She all right. She all right. But she's not like, I'm not overjoyed to see her. Like, I mean, she's okay.
I am always overjoyed to see her. I
Does she
love
bring me
when
joy?
when she FaceTimes
She
me,
could,
that
she
makes
could
me
be a little
smile.
annoying. She could be a little annoying. I don't know about joy. Well, joy is the word I would describe.
I just feel like this is an opportunity for MM to learn more about him.
Yeah.
And this feels like this is about someone else.
It's almost like he's deflecting. Like, you know,
Yeah.
let me talk about my brother's kid.
niece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you like to do? What do you like about your life and what you're doing that's bringing you joy? Don't talk about someone
He's
else's
like,
accomplishments. Talk
you
about
know,
yours. Talk about your thing. You know, he
writing
wanted to be
those
like,
letters to my wife.
you know what brings me joy? As he like turns to the camera. Letters to my wife. My
Yeah.
Woman Crush Wednesday. Like,
Right.
where'd you get that book? Don't worry about it.
Right. He packed like 15 copies.
Yeah, this is my moment.
Right.
Relax.
Yeah, I just feel like we just keep we're still, there was that one conversation last week where they did get deep, but I feel like we just keep being on the surface with them, which is with him when he's sharing, and when I'm just like, okay, when are we going to scratch the surface and get deeper? And maybe that's something they're doing off camera. Maybe that's, that's why they feel the way that they feel, or that's why they feel how they're saying that they feel. But this was one of those moments where I just felt like, yeah, okay, maybe that just leads into like his passion for wanting to start a family at this point. But I just felt like there were just so many things like day to day that he could have like, that I'm sure brings him joy. It seems like he's a hobby guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he does music stuff. He does like a bunch of creative things. He could have talked about that, but I almost felt like this was just a way for him to get into the kids' conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So she asked, do you want children? He's like, yes.
This is so weird. He pauses for a good like 5 seconds. As if he's really, really thinking.
Children.
And he says, yeah, I really do want them.
He said, I do. Yes, I really do. I was like, I did not think that was what was about to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
The little pause. He's like, yes, I really do want children. He's like, I actually ended dating someone because they didn't want children at all. And he's like, wait, I should have asked you if you want children before I said that.
Yeah, which is the thing. Like, we've been getting deep, but you don't know if you want children or not. I feel like that's a day 2 question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if we're talking about our wants and needs for life, I feel like that would have come up before day 9 or 10, which is where we're at.
Right.
So weird.
She says, which is, I think, big the way she said it. She is open to having children.
Man, I always say when people say things like this, in my mind, you either want children or you don't. Being wishy-washy on kids, that's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you are not a one camp or the other, having a child is not like I can take it or leave it type of proposition. It's like, that's a big change in your life. You got to really know if you're ready for that or not. It feels like it was just kind of like I can do it or I cannot.
Right. I definitely got the vibe from that statement alone. Like, she is fine either way. Mm-hmm. I think she's willing to have children if her partner really wants to have children, because she says she does think she'll be a good mom, but she also would be just as happy if they decided not to have children. And so I bet you when she said this, he heard, oh, she wants children.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, it's like if I have someone that half wants one and one that does want one, that's an overwhelming majority if we're going to have a kid. Like,
right. Now, if I'm hanging out with friends and it's just a clear open day, I'm like, hey, like, who wants to do an escape room? And they're like, I'm open to doing an escape room. I'm like, okay, I'm booking the tickets right now. You know, it's
Like, oh, you actually wanted to do the escape room? Oh,
right,
now that I really think about actually doing it, yeah, I'm not that into it. Like,
right. You
now that
said you were open.
now that you really put it into my reality, now I've really thought about it, and I'm not down with it. Like, I'm not cool. I don't want
Right.
to be in a room with you, Asia, while you're trying to frantically figure out clues and yelling at me because I'm not getting answers quick enough.
Right.
Which I assume is what being in an escape room with Asia is like.
Listen, there's one goal in mind, and that is getting out, and that's what I want to do.
Nothing else should be in the way, including your feelings. I'm gonna be
Right.
if you're not solving something fast enough, I'm gonna tell you.
I've had to have a few debrief conversations after, like, sorry about the time, you know.
You really had to repair some relationships after some escape rooms, I'd imagine.
I didn't mean to yell at you.
I didn't even throw a book at you. That was a little too far. I should have done that.
I didn't mean to
tell
snatch
you
that out of your hand.
I didn't mean to say you're a useless waste of a human being. I went a little too far. But
So,
you know how I get when I'm in my mode. I'm in my zone.
Right.
Don't get in my way.
So he does say that he thinks he's pretty sure it's going to be a girl. Like, when he has a kid, he's pretty sure it'll be a girl. She's like, "How are you so sure?" He's like, "Because I've had dreams about my daughter for years." So
that's the next book.
Right. My
Dreams
future
about
daughter.
my daughter.
Yeah.
12 poems about my thoughts and wishes for my daughter.
And then his daughter is 5. He's like, "Daddy, can I read the poems you made for me?" No, I can write you new ones.
Nah, sweetie, that's not for you. That's for the customers. Like I told your mommy. Right. These are for the readers.
Why you want asking to read my stuff?
What business is it of yours? Why are you asking?
Yeah. What's that got to do with you?
Yeah, why do you want to know? Right. Why you got to read my poems I read about you? What does that have to do with you?
So he says, they still don't know what's to come. He's willing to learn and adjust where he can. She's like, "Look, I know there's definitely going to be obstacles because, like, this smooth sailing is not going to be forever. We're two different people."
Just write this line of dialogue for every single couple because they all say it. They all say within this episode.
Yes. But he's like, "Yeah, like right now there's just so much comfort between us, but yeah, I know there will be a speed bump." And it's just like, they just keep foreshadowing something to come. And like, we know something's going to come. There has to be, because we saw in the previews that she's going to get mad at him for something. We don't know. Obviously, it's not on the honeymoon, but for her to get as mad as she got, I wonder what's going to transpire.
Oh, we saw him getting pretty testy in that still to come preview after this episode.
Yes, so exactly.
That's gonna be something.
Right. So they are eating at a restaurant, and she says, like, "Oh, I love trying new restaurants." And he, the small talk, whatever. And then he asks her how she likes to be loved. And she likes like hand holding and reaffirming. And she's like, so far so good with like them two. Then they talk about the topic of love. So she says she was in love with her ex-fiance, but it changed their interactions when she found out that they weren't on the same path for their future. And he's like, "Yeah, I've been in love before too. And I didn't know." He was like, "I've been in love too, but I didn't know that I could be in love after a failed engagement." So was he in love with the woman he was engaged to?
Good question. That's like a lot of double talk. I was like, after your failed engagement, aka when you cheated on your fiance. Let's not forget the facts, sir.
He's like, after the relationship where there was some crossover.
Yeah, there was some infidelity on someone's part. It's not important to talk about whose part.
Right. Let's not talk about fault here.
Yeah, it's not what this conversation is about.
He does say he knows that he can be in love again and is open to it. She's open to it too. He asked her if she does have any great examples of love, which I think is a really very, very good question, because people either want to lean into that or do the opposite of what they've seen. And so if they've had like love around them. And so she says she hasn't had any like great examples of love. And she hasn't seen anything that she wants to copy. And for him, who he wants to copy is his brother and his sister-in-law's love. There's joy in their household. They're the house that like everybody wants to come to just to be around them. And she was like, oh, that sounds like me. Like I love to host. Like that's something like I want to do. They talk about holidays and like Thanksgiving, Christmas really big for her. She likes to cook. And then he says like, or she says like she just like goes and expresses her love to people like around the holidays. And he's just like, yes, yes.
Preach.
Give thanks to the
Amen.
Lord.
Hey,
yes.
I was like, boy, my eyes almost got
said,
stuck in
"Come
my
on.
head.
Praise him.
Like, it was too much, right? Like, too much. Like you could do it like once or twice, but then when y'all just start going rambling, oh, preach, amen.
There had to be an organ.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's like, we're so churchy. But then we get a confessional from him where he says it's scary that his feelings are growing because of the possibility of failure. And he said it's like being on a roller coaster and you're just like hearing the clicks.
Click, click, click. I'm like, okay, we get it. Like again, the performative is like, we understand, we know. It's like being on a roller coaster. Click, 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 click. I was like, okay, all right.
I don't know if you've heard of those.
Yeah, it's a thing.
That was just that felt so weird to hear. That growing in his feelings is scaring him at this point.
Well, I mean, it's
so
scary
early.
because it's scary because it could fail, like he says. I believe that part. Like, I mean, growing and feeling so fast can be scary because there could be, like he says, a roller coaster of emotions, and that could ruin it. So I don't know. I can understand where he's coming from here.
Yeah, I think I think it wouldn't be scary if you're feeling that energy is being matched.
Okay. Yeah.
Where it's like right now it seems like they would be matching each other's energy. Mm-hmm. So I hope he's not getting too in his head.
Yeah, I can also see it being scary because right now they're all in like this bubble, right? They don't have work, they don't have anything else, so there's nothing but feelings being able to grow for some of these couples. Like they're so insulated with each other that these feelings can grow at a rapid pace without there being any other stimuli like everyday life, jobs, so on and so forth. So I can definitely see that being a cause of concern for him. So it makes a little bit of sense.
So we get a scene of them brushing their teeth before bed. She says he definitely listens because she talks a lot. He's looking forward to sleep. She says it was, excellent learning how he loves to be loved. He's like, look, I can't read minds. I ask questions. And this is when they start talking about the honey pack. She says like she's going to eat a honey pack. They're talking about eating a honey pack. And I'm just like, what are we talking about? Until she actually pulls out the honey pack, which is kind of like those things that you like put in tea. Like you can get it as like a stick of honey, basically. Yeah. And so she's eating that before they go to sleep, which is confusing to me because typically people use honey as a pre-workout.
Yeah, I thought it was like a help you sleep type of thing because I thought they put it in there before nighttime so that you could eat the honey pack and help you go to sleep or something. I thought that's what it was about. But they start being weird about it.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused. It says yes, honey can help you sleep. But I do also know people will eat raw honey before a workout. So I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, they got really weird about this honey stick.
Yeah, I know. It went a touch further than I was like, wait, okay, I thought it was like a quick little joke, but now we're lingering on it.
Yeah, we seem to be serious.
Yeah. And he's like, before we go to sleep, hit that light switch. And then like she like curls up to like she's like big spoon, he's little spoon, and he's like, get off me, my mom's gonna see this. And she's like, I'm just cuddling with my husband.
Hardy, har, so funny. Oh my gosh.
Man. Oh gosh. So when the group all got together for their last dinner, let's see what we got with them. Ikechi just, He thanks her for being her.
Really putting it on.
Yeah.
He loves putting it on in front of the group.
Yeah.
100%.
He says he's enjoyed every moment they've had to the point where he'd leave all of them just so they can get some more time together.
Good. Like, I feel like for some reason I think Ikechi thought this was like a group vacation, and like it would be weird for him to not be with the group. Like, no,
like,
bro.
He's been doing that from start to finish. The beginning.
Yeah.
When are we getting away from y'all?
Yeah,
most of the honeymoon will be apart.
Yeah, we're gonna try to duck off from y'all. You're gonna have a lot of time away from them. Like, that's not what this is.
Not a group trip,
right? That's why it wasn't like, when do we all get back and get together to do something again? I don't know. Wow, I got so much time to spend with MM. I don't know what's going on.
MM says that this is the first time that she's had to be completely vulnerable. I think it was Camille who asked, what do y'all want more of or less of in y'all's marriage? And Ikechi says he needs more time. He doesn't want to be physical until they have some real moments. And she says she would just rather have more of anything, not less of anything, just like more of everything, basically.
I mean, just incredibly vague from him. I want some real moments.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And this is the most alarming thing he said this episode, where I said, wait, what? Me and my mom actually watched this episode together. I said, wait a second. What does he mean by this? He goes, this is actually probably the most time that we'll have together.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
But it's true, though. I mean, they have unlimited time together right now. But when they get back to Chicago, they're both going to have to work.
Are you not getting off of work and then having from like 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the same space?
But right now they have 24/7. I
don't know. It felt like I'm trying to set this up that I'm going to be busy when we get back.
I mean, that's what he does. He's because he says, like, my job's already been calling me, so I got a lot to do when we get home.
His job has already called. Work has already been calling him. She's like, yeah, like we have work demands, but we have to put an emphasis on each other, which is which is the point I'm coming from. I know they're not going to have 24/7 together. They get back, like real life is going to happen, right? Obviously, realistically, this is the most time that they will have together physically, but I think if to like frame it that way, like
you just hate Ikechi so much. You just can't anything he says.
It was concerning.
But it was real. It was true.
I just think of like Shaq with
that's what makes me think. It makes me think of Shaq 100%, where he's like, he's going to be gone all day long, not getting home till late at night, and she's just going to be sitting at home waiting for him.
But and then for him to say like what he needs more of his time, I'm like, okay, well now time is not going to be on your side.
The whole time's going to be like, oh, just didn't have enough time.
Need more time. We just don't have enough time.
Sorry.
I'm busy. I'm at work. I'm shaping the next generation.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to start waxing poetic about his job and what he does. Gives very, very Shaq vibes.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the pink flag right now, for me. And so he says, "Look, there's so much more involved in this than just saying I do." Which I'm like, okay, welcome to the club, because
thanks for that.
I mean, I feel like that's all. This was the couple that was just like, I'm ready to just be married, right? Yeah. Like she was ready to fast forward to the real life of just husband, wife. And he was just ready to be like, okay, this is my wife.
Yeah, so no other work involved.
There is work.
Wife. Yeah.
Glad y'all are aware.
Glad you're finally getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so after the group was all together,
so there's the morning, there's like the night or the morning as they're getting ready to like leave the resort, right? And they have a diary cam. He's like, you have a dog, right? I'm thinking this is day 9 or 10. You didn't know that for a fact. I feel like if this was Aysha, this man would have already known Pepper and Simmons' names. He would have known what they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He would have known what their favorite activities were, or their favorite toys. He would have been
their
all
up on that.
Right. You wouldn't get Aysha to shut up about what Pepper and Simmons be doing. And he's just like, you have a dog, right? That's what got me. That was the thing. I was just like, y'all haven't been talking about this. Like y'all haven't been. That's like not even surface. That's just like y'all haven't talked about her dog, like her home life, what life was like in Chicago for her. It's so weird to me. And then after this, he just can't shut up about the dog and his
Yeah.
responsibilities with the dog.
He's like, now that I know she has a dog.
He's like, I have to get up every morning and take the dog out.
You have a dog, right? I don't. And listen, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was saying that for our sake. Maybe he was trying to say that to like y'all didn't know, but she has a dog.
That to me was just like like y'all don't even know about pets. Like that's like the most surface thing you can.
And we're 9 days
talk
in,
about.
and you can't say like you have cinnamon and pepper, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know, like what
like,
is the name?
I can't wait to eat cinnamon and pepper. I've been hearing so much about them. Like every day, like just looks into the diary cam. Every day she talks about pepper and cinnamon all day. I don't even know what she does for a living, but I know it's pepper and cinnamon. I know what pepper and cinnamon are. I know who they are.
Yeah.
I talked to them on FaceTime already.
Right, exactly. This is 9 days in. That's what
She brought pepper and cinnamon here. Right. She stuck them in her luggage. They're running around the room right now.
We actually drove to Cancun because she had to bring pepper and cinnamon.
She chartered a flight so that pepper and cinnamon could meet us here in Cancun. They were already in the hotel room when we got here.
Have you heard of the flight that is allowing? It's like you can only fly on it if you do have a dog.
Oh my God.
It's called Bark Air. It's really expensive though.
But can't you just bring dogs on flights? Like
small ones. This is for bigger sizes too.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't bring pepper and cinnamon just with me. I would have to have somebody else who would also pay to have a pet. And Pepper's she's a little thick girl. I think she's a little bit over the weight limit. I mean, she's only 22 pounds, but she's like long and she can't fit in the carrier size that's approved. But whatever.
She got a lot of junk in that trunk.
All that to say, we would be driving to Cancun. But yeah, this was such an odd question. But I'm like, I've already been hard enough on him. I didn't want to bring that up too.
Oh, I thought you were going to go in on him for that. Like, no. I was surprised I had to go in on him as much as I did, and you weren't joining in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So when they move in to their apartment in Chicago, he's like, yeah, it's gonna be an adjustment living with a dog.
It just made me wonder, like, are we gonna have like some issue with this dog? Like, because we talked a lot about the dog in rapid succession. So I was like, we're gonna get a
Justin
Chris,
Alexis
or Chris and Paige's dog, or Chris hated Paige's dog.
Oh, that dog! Like that dog has a name. Okay. He asked her how she feels. She says, like, it's gonna be interesting to see what hurdles come up. He's like, yeah, like it's gonna be some built-in difficulties. I'm just ready to start. Like, let's stop talking about what is possibly to come and let's just live. Right? Let's get there. Let's arrive there. Let's stop. Yeah, who knows what's in the future? We know that. We don't know what's in the future.
It just feels like it's something you say when you have nothing else to say.
Nothing else to say. Yeah. Can't relate. I always have things to say.
We know. We know. We are aware.
I always have thoughts. I don't understand. Just guys, just get out what's on your mind, okay?
For real, 100%. Yeah. So ratings, right? That's all.
Yeah. So last week since we started rating, we've been at 3s for them.
I mean, listen, they won't give me really anything to move me up or down, so I'm gonna stay at my 3. Like there's a lot of talk going on, but not a lot of action. So yeah, I'm gonna stay at my 3.
Yeah, I'm at a 3 too. Like I think what is gonna move the needle is when it stops being about like what you're telling me you're doing as opposed to us seeing it. Like we see with like Camille and Thomas that they are. Like we see it, like the action, and like even though they're not there at a physical level, we at least see the expressions of love. Yeah. Not just they set this up for us, or we can kiki and haha. I can do that with 10 people at brunch. That doesn't mean I should be married to them. So.
Yeah. Exactly. And we like from there still to come. It's like they're doing one of those little questionnaires. I think that's what they're doing. And he talks about like our vows say you do not like you are not you don't have to be an a-hole to me. So let's
Yeah.
talk about my answers. I was like, oh.
And she was looking like, which made me because I was like, maybe he's talking about something else. But I was like, oh no, he's talking to her because she's looking like, bet.
She's about to get up and like
bet. You talking to me like that? Bet.
Like, okay. Like she got her lips like pushed in like okay.
Keep talking.
All right. She's doing the hand, she's doing the grabbing the air thing. All right. I see you. I see where we're at. She's about to go off.
Not the grabbing the air. You sound all too familiar.
I may or may not have done to me by my wife. You're not gonna do.
It just gives you power to like.
I'm gonna take your nonsense in my hands
that you think you have right now. I got it.
I got it now. And I'm just gonna crumple it up.
Right.
Yes. All right. Next up, we're talking Juan and Carla. Juan, boy, this guy, he took some hits this episode. So the first thing we see in this whole episode is diary cam footage from David and Juan together talking about an outing they had where they went to the sauna, they took an ice bath, they had a romantic walk on the rocks, and how great it was, and how it helped David get out of his problems with Juan being there. So really, really great time they had together. Next scene we get is Juan and Carla having a romantic lunch, and boy, I feel like this is the third episode in a row where Juan had to do some waiter role play, some waiter shtick, like welcome to our blah blah blah. Like, okay, bro, do you want to be a waiter in another life? Like, what is this?
Literally told my mom, I was like, oh, Jason's gonna have a field day with that.
I'm telling you, like, what is it about him that he has to do this every time? let me tell you something too. Juan, this is a tough episode for Juan and his comb over, like, because he's got this huge bald spot that he is trying to cover, and every activity they do, everything they do, just the wind just like destroys it. I'm like, we see it, Juan, we see that bald spot you got, my guy.
I was like, have we seen that? And I realized, oh, it's because of like how he wears his hair.
Yeah, he does a little comb over business, but the all the wind in Cancun and the water stuff they're doing, not hide it very well. It's like, all right, we see you, Juan. We see you. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of your baldness. Wear it, bro. But yeah, so they are having their lunch. He gets right into it. He's like, yeah, I had a great day with David. He's like, it was hard to see him so beat up. He talks about the whole day they had. They had so much fun. They really shared a moment. Carla talks about her day. She says, well, I just took some time for myself because, the energy that I'm feeling from the group is just so heavy and so low, aka Michelle. I just needed to unwind and get some of that energy out. And Juan says, honestly, I forgot you were even there because I had was having so much fun with David. I forgot you were even, I don't know, at the resort is what he's saying, I guess.
And then I sat there waiting for the just kidding.
Yeah, he was dead ass serious. He was just like, yeah, totally. Just
like, I forgot.
Yeah, you just escaped my mind completely. I forgot I was married. Like, I just thought I was on a road trip with David. I don't know. It was like, Carla, who? What? It was such a weird thing to say. Because
so weird.
There was nothing that prompted that as far as we saw. There was nothing that really led into him to say that. He just said it out of the blue. He's like, yeah. That's why you were here. Okay, cool. And so you could tell the moment one that Carla was just like, okay.
Like, that's weird. What? She's also very hard to read.
I felt like I could read her in that moment. She was just like, oh, for real? Like, you forgot about me. But of course, he doesn't say anything at the time. Juan just completely bypasses her look and bypasses what he just said. Doesn't even think about it again. He just asked her, so what are some things that I can do for you that I haven't done yet? She says, well, I don't really want to ask for you to change things. I just want them to happen naturally. That's what I want in a relationship. I said, that's not realistic, sweetie. That's just that's not what a relationship is. There has to be some communication. There's got to be some give and take. There's got because anyone's going to mess up in a relationship, and it's important to voice your concerns when they happen and not be, as Juan's going to say later, passive aggressive. Let them know what he did or she did, whoever it is did, because
I think
bottling
that's
up,
what's
not great.
yeah, I think that's really hard for like in today's world of single people. It just like escalates, and it doesn't, it's that concept is not like, oh, I'm thinking about the day to day. It's thinking of, okay, if I had to tell you what I want, then I might as well be in a relationship with myself. When it's like, no, once you're actually living it, you tell that like every person is different. You tell that person what you need, what like how you receive love, what like if you enjoy flowers or whatever you need, you're saying that, and then it's up to that person to apply it. You can't
Right.
expect them to read your mind, where she's just taking out the complete like informing part and is like, you should just be, I just wanted to everything that you're doing to happen naturally. It's like, no, you are very different than every other woman in the world. Like, and every woman is different. Not just saying she's different, but it's just like he has to know what means something to you. Otherwise, he's just doing whatever naturally he would like.
Yeah, you've got to introduce the idea. Now, if you hear having to say something over and over and over again,
yeah, then
like,
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Like, take out the trash, Nick. I should have to keep telling you, Nick. Sorry, went to Love's Blind territory again. But yeah, you have to at least introduce an idea or introduce, like, say, like he's saying something and you don't like what he's saying or how he's saying it.
Yes.
Put it out there, and he'll learn from that moment, hopefully, and
Right.
won't do it again. But like I said, if you have to keep saying something, that's where you run into a problem. Don't just magically think he's supposed to know
Right.
what he has to do to change things. That's not going to work out for anyone.
Right. Yeah.
So
Like,
yeah.
I just thought it was weird that was her answer to that. And then she follows it up with like, what do you like in a relationship? And I'm like, yeah, this is an opportunity for you to say that type of thing. Like, you are going to have ongoing conversations while y'all are getting to know each other, for him to know what you like, the type of things you like in a relationship, or the type of things that, you need. Yeah. But he's not going to know that you need it until you say it.
And keep in mind, this is right after she has decided to bottle up this feeling she has about what he just said to her. So
exactly.
Yeah, she turns it back on him and says, well, what do you need in a relationship? He says, just don't take yourself so seriously. He's like, people are so serious. They don't know how to laugh things off. He says, and that, that just leads to arguments that can break up a marriage. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
depends on what you're laughing off, right? Depends on like how unserious you're taking things, right? Like, oh, I cheated on you, so what? Don't take it so seriously. Just laugh it off. I cheated. Oh, who cares?
Yeah, because it's like, are you laughing it off because it's been resolved? Are you laughing it off because like that's uncomfortable?
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on.
Yeah, like, are you trying to say we shouldn't tackle any of our issues or our problems? Just laugh it off. It's okay.
Yeah.
What are you saying here? So that was on both their parts were weird responses.
Yeah. Very.
So, and talk about a confusing, weird segment. We get a diary cam from Carla. Her and Juan are walking somewhere. She talks about the fact that, yeah, Juan forgot me yesterday. So when he went to go swimming, he forgot his bag to go swimming. And so now he's carrying his stuff around in a garbage bag. Did you get this better than I did? I was lost. I was lost.
So the bag that he needed was in their room, and he like went to go swimming, right? And so he had his stuff with him, and what he was going to do was go back to the room, it seemed, get his bag, and then they were going to go and do this photo shoot. But what happened was she decided, she's, I'm going to forget about him and I'm just going to leave. And he didn't have a key to the room. So then he just had to carry his stuff in something he found.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought.
I was just like, what? I don't even understand what happened here. It's like, all right, cool. Moving on. So they do go to this like photo shoot they've set up. It's like an aquatic photo shoot. They're in the water, taking some really nice pictures. While we're doing this, Carla tells us she's still upset with Juan. She is waiting for him to apologize. which is weird because he doesn't know he needs to apologize for
He
anything
does
right
not know
now.
that she is upset.
He has no idea. She says, but she's going to try and take this opportunity to release the negative energy that she's feeling right now. Taking the photos, and she is just obviously not feeling it at all. Juan can see that she's not feeling it on her face. And he says, but the camera is helping take the tension off because we're, they're having us, we're touching, we're feeling, we're kissing. And, doing all that is kind of releasing some of the tension. So we get to this moment where the photographers want to do kind of like a interesting, tricky underwater shot. So it's basically she's going to be underwater and he dips his head underwater. And I think they were supposed to kiss. I don't know what was going on. She cannot, for the life of her, figure out how to submerge herself underwater long enough to get this shot. So she gets really frustrated and she's just like, you know what? I'm kind of over this. And Juan seems to be kind of there, like comforting her and being like, hey, like if you're not feeling it, we don't have to do it. Like it's up to you, whatever, blah, blah. So they do convince her to do it one more time, and they get the picture. I don't think this is the picture they were trying to capture, but
I thought it was beautiful.
I thought the one they did after that, where they were both like fully underwater going towards each other, was great. This one was just kind of like all right, she got underwater. Let me take a quick picture. I thought
because it was supposed to be like him coming into the water to her. So the fact that it got like just his head and he was like reaching for her and she was under the water, I was like, okay, I saw the vision.
Yeah, I thought they were like supposed to kiss or something. Like I know what it was, but they finally got the picture, and so yeah, they we got it. In a confessional, she says that she liked that he kept checking up on her during this whole thing, and that he was really trying to comfort her. And it's good to know that they can get over the tough times and laugh and still have fun. That was a really good like excursion, like experience to have.
It was like they're obviously both very gorgeous people. So I think these pictures are going to be nice to look back on. And it was an exercise in like, okay, can we have fun doing something like this? I mean, it's kind of like channeling what the wedding pictures are supposed to be when they do all the coupley shots, except this was like just like really cool. So I'm glad that he like redeemed himself with her, not realizing that he needed to.
Yeah, not understanding he had some things to make up for. Right. So we kind of touch on it the next day. They're kind of just hanging out in the hotel room. And he's again just talking about his connection with David. He's like, yeah, me and David, we really hit it off. Like, this is really great. She's like, yeah, I know. She's like, yeah, you hit it off so much, you forgot about me. And he says, oh, here we go. Was you being passive aggressive about this? He says, if you hear me say something you don't like, ask me to clarify. He says, now that you've said it back to me, I understand why you think it's so harsh, but you need to be able to communicate how you feel to me. That's the only way we're going to get past these things. They talk a little bit about living together. He says he's ready to see what it's like for them to be living together. She asks about his expectations about moving in. He says, I don't live life with expectation. He says we're gonna be going into some deep stuff together with our daily routine, and we'll just see how it goes as we're doing it. She talks about the fact that he's gonna have to disappear from the house when she goes to the bathroom. He's like, I found that that's fine, but just so you don't have to disappear when I do it, because I don't care. You can smell it. I don't mind. I don't care at all. She lets him know, listen, when I get home from work sometimes, I need like 30 minutes to decompress. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. I just want to listen to some music for like 30 minutes and just decompress from my day. She says, I had to talk a lot at work. I don't want to talk a lot when I'm at home. He says, so I'm just not allowed to talk to you when you get home? Like, you're not going to say hello? I'm just not allowed to speak at all? And he jabs her a little bit. He's like, so I'm going to be like you when you were talking to me recently. Like, okay. So she said, well, I mean, I'll greet you. I'll say hello. She says, I just need some time for myself. And then Juan gets into this diatribe. He says, that's the thing with you women.
Literally.
He might as well say, you females. Right. He says, that's the thing with y'all women. Y'all just expect to know what we want from you. Like you want us to just know what you need and want. He says, but we're animals. We just don't know what you want. You have to let us know sometimes. We just have animal instincts, and we don't know. You have to tell us. So I was like, oh my gosh, Juan, like you're taking such a hit in my book with saying dumb stuff like that. Like that was just so stupid.
Yeah.
But they're at the final group dinner. And as all the couples are going around and around talking about their relationship, Juan says the thing for him is he's going to have to reprogram himself to be mindful of his partner and being more aware of what he's doing, what he's saying. He says while enjoying life, at the same time. So I think he's talking more about like what the whole passive aggressive experience was about, and he's going to have to be more mindful of what he's saying. He tells the group about the photo shoot. Plus, they had to work through some things with the photo shoot, but it was good to see them under pressure and how they handled it. Juan talks about the fact it's going to be interesting to get back and show her how regimented he is at his work routine during the week, because it's important to him that he has a wife that is as driven as he is. He says he wants a boss just like he is. Carla says, well, I kind of want more fun and less fun. She says, I like having a good time, but I need to know when to bring it down and read the room. It's about when and where. He is always so high energy, and it's going to be important to balance that out for when she needs a lower energy. So he can't be up all the time when she doesn't want to be up all the time.
Which, yeah, she does seem very like zen, mellow.
He seems very like ready to dance at a moment's notice. Interesting when they were packing up. Juan seemed to throw in like a paid product placement for the resort. He's like, here at TRS Resort, things have gone very well. This was a great experience. I would do it again anytime.
I was like, why is he advertising?
So funny.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, we don't really get much of them in Chicago. He's just like they get to their place. He's like, oh, quiet hours. I don't like quiet hours. Like that's not me.
Yeah,
we don't really get a big segment for them in Chicago.
Yeah, we did not.
So that's their episode. The still to come. The only thing I really clocked for them was like his weird facial hair he was sporting. It was interesting. Other than that, I didn't really get much.
Same. I don't have a single note from them from the still to come.
So where are you with your rating?
So last week I was at a 4. You and Mari were at a 3. I'm gonna maintain my 4. Because I just feel like, even though we had this little bit of conflict, it wasn't a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll stay at 3 because I think that even though they did resolve their conflict, I think the way they resolved it is still going to rear its ugly head later down the line.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to break bad habits, which is what this was for Carla. And I can see more of that passive aggressiveness coming out later down the line if things don't go well. And I still think they're really foreshadowing this lifestyle difference and how that's really going to affect things. So I'm gonna leave it at a 3 because there wasn't anything really terrible to knock me down to a 2 that happened in the episode. So I'll just maintain my 3.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna take for them to kind of move me one way or another. Or I guess unless they start like crashing and burning, obviously I'll start going down. But they just seem to be easy. I could easily see them being like this throughout the entire experiment and then getting to the end and being like, no, we think it's best we don't stay married.
Yeah, this felt like a crack in the veneer though. It's just like everything's been going so swimmingly, you've been so happy together. It's just like, oh, like you're starting to get on my nerves with the things you're saying.
Yeah.
You're starting to get on my nerves when you're being passive aggressive. So I can see where that little crack is starting to form.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk real quick about Madison and Alan.
Yeah.
We got hard. I don't know if they're just not giving content or they just are they just not talking when they're together?
I thought we got some good content from them, especially near the end.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was all post group stuff. But before the group outing, they are doing this date where they got to kind of they were like working with these spirit guides. So when they're walking up, he's telling her about the Mayan culture. His shorts were showing all of his business.
Oh,
I don't know if you noticed.
Fortunately, I wasn't able to clock it this time.
Okay.
I guess they didn't put up in our faces like they did with the whole hotel room the morning after thing. But I luckily I didn't clock it this time.
I was like, I don't know if it's the material of the shorts, but they left nothing up to the imagination. um, but they're working with these spirit guides. They sit on these like leaves and like the spirit guide is like laying things down and like removing stuff from the air, and he pours some stuff on her head, and they're touching each other's chests.
Man, you could tell that Madison was just like, no, like, why are we doing this? Like, he started pouring the liquid on her head. She's like, oh my god, it's in my hair. I have to wash my hair later. Like, this is not what I want right now. This is not good. And you know, the lady's having them touch each other all over the place. The lady is touching them all over the place.
Yeah,
like, this is very uncomfy.
Yeah, we do get which it wouldn't be if she was with somebody she was like feeling.
Totally. Because like later she'll talk about like, I know Alan loved it because you got to touch me a lot. Like,
right?
Okay. It's like, oh, I had to touch him.
Why are you treating this like
but he got to touch me, but I had to touch him.
Right. Like, oh, it was way better for him than me.
Yeah, totally.
So we did get a confessional from her where she was like, it's nice to do this together, but he's more of a physical touch person than she is, but she's trying to warm up.
Caveat, with him.
Yes, with him. Because she gets with the right person. Oh my God, all of a sudden I love physical touch.
I love physical intimacy all of a sudden.
Right. Then the guide starts clearing their brain. So she's like touching his head, removing things from his head. And then she starts to kind of read them. So she's like,
read them for filth.
Yeah.
Like, totally.
She tells, so the guide tells Madison that she's a different person on the inside than the outside, where she's like appearing as like a strong woman, but she's a very different person inside, and she needs to connect more and like speak more. And for Alan, she said he talks a lot, right?
Yeah, basically he talks too much and he needs to do more thinking than talking or something like that.
Right, because she sprays something in his mouth and then he couldn't talk, or like he was supposed to like suck on it or something.
Yeah.
And Madison joked and was like, can I take some of that back home? She thinks he talks too much.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I've learned I need to shut up. And Madison, we did get a confessional from Madison saying like she feels like experiences like this will help them connect more. And
I'm sure she felt she had to say that. When it's like, this is probably what I should say, but in the real
right,
this is nonsense.
Which that's been a popular thing right now on TikTok, where because I only say it's popular because I've seen it more than once, where it's like you have got to be able to determine, do I like this person or do I like this activity? Because if I like this activity, I could be doing it with anybody. But then it's when you're not doing all these like activity dates is when you learn like, okay, do you really like the person? So I think she liked this because it was less about
how are they illustrating that on TikTok? Like, what are they doing?
Well, they're just talking. Like, they're like, when you're going on a date, make sure you know that you like that person. You don't just like the activity that you're doing, basically.
That's what we're doing on TikTok. Just random people saying random things.
Is that not the internet?
I thought those are like funny and fun videos. Like,
if that's what your algorithm shows you, there's so much.
You just ask a random person, be like, it'll
be like hashtag dating, hashtag single life, or whatever, and people giving advice.
Interesting algorithm you got there.
Oh my God. Anyway, it is an important thing. Like, I've been fooled in the past of like thinking like, oh my gosh, that was so fun, when it's like, no, the activity was fun, not the person. And so I think
you can go to an escape room with anyone. It's about who you're in there with.
Exactly. I think she really liked this because it involved less about them communicating with each other, and it was more about what they were doing. So she's like, okay, that's fine, right? And she said, we do more things like this, that'll be good. When it's like, no, girl, that's just distracting you from the fact that you don't like conversing with this man.
Yeah, I didn't think she liked this really at all.
I mean, I don't think she loved it, but I think it was like a better date for her.
Yeah, I thought she looked mostly uncomfortable during the whole thing, but like you said, maybe if she was doing it with someone she actually liked, she would dig it a lot
She
more.
would have had a blast.
Yeah.
So in the group dinner, the last dinner, she does say like, okay, he is Alan. And she's like, she talks about his wardrobe. She's like, but I don't want somebody who wants to change themselves for me. But it's
Cut to later in the episode where she tells him everything she wants him to change about us.
Literally. She said it's just been an adjustment. I just want to really give him a chance in like the environment that we're gonna be in. And he says like he doesn't feel like she has shamed him for some of his audaciousness.
Yeah, audaciousness. Like, bro, you got a thesaurus in your back pocket? What are you doing?
He says she's been accepting of him, and he says like he feels like they're the closest when they're doing an activity. What I say about activity dates.
There you go. Tic tac told us.
And he's like, we're moving together. Like, I cough a lot in the morning.
Alan is such an old man. Like, he's an old man for no reasons. Like, he gets up and starts hacking phlegm. Like,
Right.
like Alan,
Camille was like, okay, enough.
Yeah, Camille was like, I thought I was with the old guy.
There's a few here.
Yeah.
So they're packing up, and he's outside on his phone. And then he kind of gets like locked out, and she had to help him in. And he says it's been a rough morning. So we found out that last night, he found out that one of his really good friends has passed away. And it's actually someone that he got a drink with 2 days before the wedding. So someone he saw very recently, he found out that they had passed away. And for him, it was a really big deal how she handled him finding out the news. Like, he really liked it, how she was able to support him. And he thanked her for that. And she's like, look, I'll support you and whatever. And then they kind of transition into like when they get back, they're going to be living together. She says she's a person of habit. She's excited to get back to a little bit of normalcy, but she has not lived with a guy. And so, which is the story for multiple of these women. She's like, you've already left the toilet seat up twice. I'm like, twice in 9 days? That's not that
bad. Listen, I've been trained very well my whole life to not leave the toilet seat up, so you'll never catch me doing that.
I tried hard. Me and my brother grew up with a Jack and Jill bathroom.
Oh, Lord.
And I tried with that guy, and
that guy.
It's a lost cause. And so she says on paper their lifestyles fit. And he does want them to really get to know each other to see if they have like spark or chemistry, because he feels like she's gotten one version of him this whole time.
And she don't like it.
Yeah. Right. He says on paper she's everything that he wants. So we did get a confessional from her saying that like they need to cross over to the romantic side. And I was like, I don't think that she wants that. I know that she knows that they need that.
She tried not to look so disgusted when she said it, but you can see in her face, she's like, we have to try, I guess, if I'm going to be forced to on camera, say what I think I should say.
Right.
What she's doing here. She does give a toast that surprisingly is not sexual when they're all leaving.
Yeah, but this was her third toast, right? And my mom was like, who made her the Toastmaster?
That's right, Mama Welch. I agree.
It's like, she is just falling into that role. And they say, girl, you got it. And this is the one that she just kind of freestyled.
She's a leader. She's going to go ahead and lead.
Yeah. So they're moving in. She wants to talk a little bit. She says like she's been able to collect her thoughts.
You can tell this is going to be a bad conversation. So it's almost like someone coming in for the performance review. Like, all right, come on in and sit down. We got to talk about some things.
The things that I've gathered your strengths and your weaknesses. So we need to unpack those.
In this case, all weaknesses. There's really no strengths here.
Right. She says she prefers a partner who actively takes care of themselves and finds it important to pay attention to the things like going to the gym. Like that stuff is attracted to her. There's only
This guy-
one person on this cast who has been to the gym.
Hey, listen, we seen it. They were there together.
Yeah.
Alan for his part's like, I mean, I don't go to the gym all the time, but like,
Right.
I do stuff. Like I work on a car.
Right.
I do stretches.
Right. Yeah, he said
you're not helping yourself at all.
Right. He's like, I don't go to the gym like consistently, I
could
go.
swore we saw a package of him like early in the matchmaking, maybe in the first episode, where he's literally at the gym. So I thought when they set him up with Madison, I was like, okay, we've seen him at the gym. She likes to go to the gym. Good match. But now he's telling me, I mean, I don't go a lot. Well, I go sometimes.
I dabble.
Well, I'm there like every other week,
He says like he stays like you said, he stays active doing like manual labor. And she was like, well, she just wants to see it. And she says another thing, the loud outfits, that's not my style. As he sits there wearing a white shirt with this huge yellow crown on it.
You just start taking the shirt off, like, so
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Gosh, I did not realize.
Well, let me go change real quick.
He like takes it off. He has on like a neon undershirt.
Like, oh, this is much better, is it? He takes it off. There's like a stained A-frame shirt. He's like, oh, this probably isn't any better, is it? Damn.
She's like, I said I want someone who goes to the gym.
Man.
And so when she said he did like the loud outfits are not her style, he's like, I can tell. She's like, look, I don't want a dog on your style. Like, okay.
She proceeds to do so.
He does want to reassure her that this is a new chapter for them and they'll figure it out.
Poor Alan. I think Alan is willing to change himself completely for Madison.
He is. I think he is. There's a trend right now of people saying like, and I don't know where it came from. I feel like it started when I was gone for a month, and then when I came back, people were saying this. But like, I don't know where some of this stuff started. But it's when people say like, "Oh, the woman that you are," or "the man that you are," and I feel like in this scenario, she's like, I don't like the man that you are
at all. You be a totally different man that you can be, not the man that you are. I will make you into the man you can be. With my guidance, you'll be the man you should be. Like, and she said earlier, like, I don't want him to have to change himself for me. And then she just proceeds to be like, so this is all the things you need to change.
So if you could change these things, that would be great. But I don't want you to have to.
Like, but if you want this relationship to work, you're gonna have to change those things.
Right.
You don't have to. But if you want to stay married to me, you got to make those changes. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Right. And actually, after I've just expressed all these things to you, on that note, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna go out
later,
and we see on the little Nest camera in their apartment.
Our first surveillance camera of the season. We love it.
Oh shoot, she leaves. It says 3 hours later, she's not back. And he's like, well, he's in the hot tub. He's like, well, she's not back. And, I was hoping we'd spend this first night together because it's our first night at our apartment. But she like went out for happy hour. Alan, the sun is down and it looks like it's been down.
It's nighttime, my G. It's nighttime.
I hate to break it to you.
It's happy hour like 5 o'clock.
Happy hour is like 4 to 6.
Oh my God.
Like
it's 11 p.m.
Right.
She's still not back.
It's 3 a.m. She did say she was going to happy hour. I believe it's almost over.
These happy hours. There are a lot of happy hours out there. But this is rough. The whole scene was rough. Like we see the surveillance cam and she's all dressed up. He's like doing the dishes. She says, I'm not going to be out late. I'll text you. And like gives him the friendliest of friend hugs. And dips out. Like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Pat.
Yeah, have a good night. See you later. And that's so I'm wondering if if it's
Don't
3
wait
hours
up.
later, right? If it's 3 hours later, he's just chilling. I want to know how this came to be. Like, did she not invite him? Was she just like, I'm just gonna go hang out with my friends. You don't need to come. Like, please don't come. Like, don't follow me. I need to go out and do my thing.
No, she probably said, I'm going out with my friends. Like, it wasn't a situation it probably is not even a situation where he thought it was like, could be like he could join.
Yeah,
She
gave
probably
no
what she
room.
was doing. Yeah.
She gave no room for an invite. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to come.
He like looked up, she's dressed.
Where are you going? I'll see y'all for a little bit.
No, that actually happened. My mom was watching TV and I was finishing like my day job, right? And then she looked up and I had on like this sweatshirt and I was like making tea. She's like, where are you going? I was like, oh, out with friends. I said, no, I'm going upstairs to podcast. She said, oh, I thought you were leaving.
Those your going out clothes.
I literally have on sweats.
You going to a party?
She said, where are you going? Just a podcast upstairs.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's where we leave off. So I think it's gonna be very interesting to see when she comes back, what time it is.
Yeah, that's.
Are we gonna get a parallel of David also coming back home?
Oh my god, that'd be funny. But that's quite a move on the first night to decide.
It's bold.
Yeah, I've been away from my girls for a week. I gotta go see what they're talking about. But I mean, we just got married, and it's like our first night in our apartment. Like, you don't want to hang out, chill, do anything.
And that's the thing. Bye. That's the thing is that she said she doesn't want him to be a pushover. And I'm sure it's like, well, if he wanted me to be home on the first night, he should have said something.
She pushed him right over to get out that door.
Yes.
See you later, bro.
Yeah.
And this has fallen very hard into the friend zone, into the this isn't going anywhere zone.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. So for ratings, I think I'm gonna make the move down to the basement, down to the one.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm joining the party.
I had sound effects. I'd be
I'm here in the basement. It's dusty and it's cold, but that's where they are.
Welcome to the lands of the ones. I also will say, I'll continue my one from last week.
Yeah, we're down here with Mark and Lindsay,
David and Michelle.
Yeah, now with Clint and Gina are down here. Hey, Michael and Jasmina down here in the one basement. How are you? How's it going? There's all the ones down here.
All the good old ones. Who here with the Lauren and Orion.
Oh my gosh, it's a
Claire and Cameron.
Claire, Cameron. Oh my God, Emily and Brendan, is that you? Oh my gosh, the oneiest ones we may have ever seen. You're like the VIPs in this one club.
President of the Ones Club.
God.
Yeah. So that's them. So last but not least.
Yeah, someone else partying down in the one club. David and Michelle. Listen, they're trying to give us a glimmer of hope this episode. They're just like a little tiny speckle of hope. You can have it.
They're trying to just stop. Well, she's trying to just stop hating him.
Listen,
or blatantly hating him.
We left her on that boat last episode with that producer. That producer said, "Look here, I got a ticket for you to go back to America tonight. So you better shape up or ship out. You want to stay here in Cancun with your little friends? You got to spend some time with them. Okay? So you willing to do that or no?"
Carla said, that's not my friend.
I don't know her.
Negative energy.
Yeah, Michelle said, "Fine, I'll stay and I'll do activities with him." Which is basically what happened this episode.
Yeah.
So in confessional, we get to them. They're going to go paddleboarding, whatever. She says she's really struggling. This is not the husband she pictured. I said, that's funny because it sounds like the husband that you described. So, like, what do you mean? She does say she needs to stop being so hard on herself and enjoy the time they have here. She doesn't want to keep fighting. She knows he's a good guy. So they're just going to try and keep it casual, like as much as they can. They sit down before they go to paddleboarding, and David again is just trying to. He's like, "What can I do for you?" Like, bro, like, no, back up, like, back off. Don't ask those questions.
I
Let it be
can't
like.
knock him for trying though. It's
But
just like,
he keeps running into a brick wall. It's just like just lay
yeah.
back, lay in the cut for a minute, like have some fun. He's like, so what can I do for you? She says, well, he said, because he does so like, I know you said like I interrupt you, I talk over you. She's like, yeah, so don't do that. Like that's not good. Um, she does talk about the fact that it's hard for her to let people in and accept help. So she's really trying to overcome that. He asked her, so have you seen like any positives here? And she says, yeah, I have. He goes, name them.
Right.
Call your bluff.
Wait.
Name them. And she pauses as much as Ikechi paused on the kid question. As much as she pauses, she has like deer headlights. Like she's like, oh, he actually like wants to know. Well, we are getting to know each other very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Because of you.
Because like as if she has not set this pace.
As if someone has come and done this to her.
Yeah.
No, it's you. You're the one making it go slow. But she's like, I don't know. We're just getting to know each other so slowly. She says, but we are learning that we have different communication styles.
Captain
says,
Obvious.
Yeah, she says, I am taking small steps, like really, really small steps. Let's just try and work out the kinks and have some fun. In a confessional, she says she feels like she's on autopilot and she wants to take a break from being so serious, and hopefully that this activity will help her in that. So they go out paddleboarding. They do seem to have a good time, mainly because they're not sharing and occupying the same direct space. Like you almost see her be like, all right, now go further over that way. Yeah,
I shouldn't be able to hear you.
Yeah, I want you to be like a little speck in my vision. Just go ahead, keep going. So yeah, that's probably what it was. She's like, yeah, we're having fun, we're having a good time.
And paddleboarding is hard. You really have to balance. And so I could understand how he kept falling.
Was that a Fiji activity?
I didn't paddleboard, no, just kayaked.
You just kayaked.
Mm-hmm.
In a confessional, she says this is the most fun she's had since she's been here. So it's a good day. She'll take it as a win, shake the wins wherever she can. So she's trying to prove she can not be a total drag, I guess. This is a big activity day for David and Michelle, because the next scene we get, they're going on a sushi rolling class. In a confessional, he says he's not really a raw sushi guy, but this seems to be her thing. So he wants to show her that he can be in her world.
He's trying.
So they go and do this demonstration. David does not seem as comfortable. He's commenting on the fact I don't really eat raw sushi, but I'll try it. They both take a turn doing a little exhibition, doing a little demonstration. Michelle does say in a confessional that he seems, he kind of seems to not want to get out of his comfort zone. I said, you have the nerve, the unmitigated gall to talk about someone not being out of their comfort zone. How dare you?
Literally.
How dare you? But he says he is trying, so that's something. I said, you talking about somebody not in the, get out of here. So they sit down, eat their sushi rolls. She's kind of guiding him through it, and he's like talking and he's cursing. We hear the beeps. She goes, do you cuss a lot? Like, is that a thing you do? He says, well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I do. And she says, I kind of want you to reel it in a little bit. Okay, just reel it in a little bit. He says, I can do that. I can do that. So he's trying again. He tries again to ask to get into the family conversation. He starts talking about his family, and he transitions it. He's like, "Oh, what about your family?"
Yeah, he's
trying not to get shut down. He's like, "I'm trying to double dutch here, trying to get in on the conversation where I can get in."
Right. He's like, this is a what about you situation. So she can't be like, why do you want to know?
Yeah. So get this, y'all. Get this. She talks about her family. She talks about the fact that her parents, grew up in one house, and then her grandparents, their parents, moved in next door to her parents. So they lived very close together. So I'm like, so basically your issue is that they live in the same domicile. Like the same, like
Yeah.
David lives in the same building as his parents. You don't mind parents being close by. That's what you grew up with. So like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the problem? So I just found that so bizarre and so trippy that it's like she is used to having family very close by and
Very close.
possibly helping out. It's just the fact that you share the same space. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was so weird to me. It's like that's how she grew up, and like there was like she doesn't see the parallels here.
She just at this point, she has to have had an ex that lived with his parents, and that's just all she sees. Like there has to be some type of trauma associated with this because she will not believe anything that this man says about it.
Yeah. I just think she's very judgmental. And I think the image that she gets when she hears someone live with their parents is that, they do everything for him and he can't do anything on his own. And she just can't get out of that mindset, no matter how much he demonstrates for her and tells
Mm-hmm.
her that's not the case. She will not let it go. She will
Yeah.
not adjust her thinking at all. I think she thinks it's very immature and very childlike to live in the same building as your parents.
What if he had shaped it like my parents live with me?
That probably would have been different. Like if he like almost kind of clocked it as like I kind of take care of my parents sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think she also probably would have gotten the ick from that because she's like, I don't think she wants to be in a living space with the parents. I think that's what that would bring to her. She's just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh
Yeah.
no, I
She
can
would have had an
imagine
issue
that.
with it.
Yeah, so I think no matter how he framed it, she wouldn't think of him as an independent person being able to
Yeah.
live on his own. That's what she wants. So yeah, that's pretty much where their conversation goes. He's at the end of it, he's like, it's really great that we can just kind of have a conversation and just kind of flow and find just kind of vibe. She's like, yeah, I'm trying to do this as much as I can on camera so I can stay in Cancun for now.
Right.
We get to the group dinner. David talks about how, for them, the last few days have been pretty good for him and Michelle. They're having conversations. They're smiling. We hear a little thing from Carla. Carla's like, yeah, I saw you two kind of huddled up and giggling earlier about a lizard or something.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle says she's really looking forward to the structure that, going home will bring, getting to know their individual schedules and how that meshes. And she
I'm
goes,
like,
like,
yeah, right.
she's like, for the rest of our lives, like you don't
Is that
believe
what I'm
this
supposed to
either.
say?
Yeah, like you don't believe this about yourself about what's going on here. David talks about the fact that they worked such different shifts, so they're not going to. It's not like they're not going to be on top of each other, like because he's like, yeah, because we both need space. Like, right, you both need space. Like,
Yeah.
AKA she needs space. You're just kind of trying to be up there with her, like, yeah, I need
We
space
need
too. I need
space.
space too. Totally.
Yeah.
Michelle talks about the fact that she needs to be less hard on herself and open up more to him, even though this isn't the marriage she pictured. I said, damn, you just gonna say that out in front of everybody? You just gonna like call that out? Like, this isn't the marriage I pictured. I mean, he's ill. Basically, that was. It says,
Yeah.
and she looks at him because this is the whole like more and less conversation. What do you need more of? What do you need less of?
Right.
And she looks at him. She's like, and he knows I need less of, so I'm gonna leave that there.
I'm not gonna put that out in the public.
Basically, less talking to me. Okay.
Literally, that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yep. She says she does appreciate him for sticking it out through her moods. He tells the group, listen, I'm going to keep fighting for this as long as I can. So we get to the morning of leaving to go back to Chicago. We're packing up. He talks about being ready to be back in the real world and see how the living situation is going to be. And he brings up a point. He's like, we work different shifts. I'm going to get home real late. You're still probably going to be sleeping in the bed. Like, he's like, I'm going to try so hard not to wake you up when I come to bed. She's like, oh, hold up.
You have the audacity to think that we're going to be in the same bed.
It's like the Jamie Foxx show where he was like, the hand up to like,
Yeah.
hold on.
Right.
We are not. So, David, why did you think that would be the situation right now? Like,
no, it was so casual though. Like I feel I almost missed it. If she hadn't called it out, I wouldn't have been like, oh, Bold of him to assume they're going to be
I
sharing a room.
I thought it was pretty bold considering what we've been going through the last 9 days. So I was like, that was a weird thing to say, David, because you're not sleeping in the same bed right now. So what makes you think you're gonna be doing when you go back to Chicago?
Right.
She's like, yeah, I'm just not comfortable sleeping in the same bedroom or the same bed. She's like, he's like, can I ask why? Like, really, bro? Have you been here? Like, have you witnessed what's going on?
It's like, what?
This is a shock to me. Okay. She's like, yeah, I'm just not like, I'm not comfortable, and I don't see a connection quite yet. So I'm just not comfortable sharing a bed with you. In confession, he says, he's just going to keep looking for the positives. He's going to fight for it, and hopefully she wants to fight for it too. He says he's trying. He says he is trying. She says she just can't help how she feels. It's like, listen, I understand where she's coming from with the whole like, why on earth would you think we're going to be sleeping in the same bed when we get there? Like, I think in her mind, there is no friggin' way they will ever sleep in the same bed. Ever.
In her mind, it's ever. Yeah.
Ever. In confessional, she says, because this is after the whole group gets together to leave, and everyone kind of talks about getting back to living in Chicago. And she says she thinks everyone is nervous to move in, and they're just pushing that down. She says, maybe I should do that too. Stop being a negative Nancy. It's like, yeah, you think? I did find it interesting that on the plane, she decided to sit behind him.
Because it was like, and well, he's a big guy. I don't know. Because I'm sure he would have been fine doing the middle seat, but maybe for him it was like aisle or window.
Yeah. We in the Alan and Madison segment, we got they got their little plane selfie, and apparently she turned down an upgrade to still sit with Alan. So I was like, oh, that's actually pretty nice. That's a nice gesture. Yeah, so that was pretty much it for them. Yeah,
they do pick their rooms.
Yes, they picked their rooms.
Oh yeah, obviously it's 2 bedrooms, so no one does have to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, so that's nice for them.
Yeah.
So on that still to come, I don't think this is deceptive editing, but I think the show is pretty much clearly spelling out that this is going to be a David, Michelle, Madison, Alan thing. Like that's what the couple swap's going to be. And
because they even show Michelle saying, fine, go hook up with my friend, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like, are you really that upset? I feel like this is gonna be the perfect out for Michelle to be like, well,
look at him.
I was willing to try. I was gonna try, but he decided to hook up with my friend. What am I gonna do?
We literally get her saying, I had high hopes for this marriage.
Yeah.
Since when?
Liar.
Since when? At what point?
For the 20 minutes it took for us to get through the ceremony to when he told me he lived with his parents. I had high hopes that whole 20 minutes.
Yes. And then we do see her seeing his place, and she's like, it feels very much like a 20-year-old's place.
Yeah, she asked her like, so now that you saw my place, like, what do you think? He's like, it's pretty much what I thought. Like,
yeah, she is not. And they're really trying to I don't know what they're trying to do by showing us and Alan hugging in the still. She's very much so just comforting him.
Yeah, they're really trying to throw us off the scent. Yeah. We get a voiceover from Carla talking about, I would never do that to someone else or something, as if she's talking about Juan, I guess. I don't know.
No, but I feel like that is like, if they're feeding us Madison and David, that could very much so be that's her just like a fly on the wall. Yeah, like I would never do that to somebody else. So
I just thought
her judging Madison for it.
I thought they're just kind of throwing anything at the wall, like just like that MM and Alan embrace. Like maybe it's MM and Alan, maybe it's Carla. We don't know. Ooh, but I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty clear that's going to be. From episode 1, everyone and their mama said David and Michelle are central to this. It's just about who is the other couple. I think
where do the other pieces fit? Yeah,
right. But I think it's definitely going. Now I'm just really curious if this is going to be a full swap. Like, are Alan and Michelle going to get together?
I could
That's a
with
weird.
the amount of quirkiness that Alan has, I could not see
Yeah,
Michelle.
that's a weird combination. So
Yeah,
I think the word swap might be used very liberally.
loosely. Yeah,
Yeah, so we'll see what that portends, what that brings.
yeah. So
But yeah,
clearly a one from both of
yeah,
us,
oh
right?
yeah,
Okay.
definite one,
Cool,
definite
cool,
one.
cool, cool.
They're in the one club, 100%.
Yeah, we knew that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we've been new. All right, so
Yeah.
yeah, let's episode.
Yeah, thank y'all for so much for sticking with us. Talk about this episode 6. We'll be back to talk about episode 7. So make sure you subscribe and you won't miss when this drops. Make sure you subscribe to the RHAP YouTube channel too if you want to see our faces and you get to play the YouTube video and get to see how we react to things. I think that was
Yeah,
one of the biggest things that we heard when we finally went video a few seasons back. People were like, "Whoa, y'all really are expressive."
we're very expressive. We talk with our hands and our gestures.
Like,
Yeah, what are they doing? What's
yeah.
going on?
Right,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh!
So that's what you're missing when you're doing audio only. So go subscribe to the RJP YouTube channel. You can watch the YouTube videos of these podcasts. Make sure you go join the Facebook group, A Perfect Match Podcast, where the password this week is
Eat my honey pack.
Eat My Honey Pack. And
Gross,
then
Aysha, just so gross. Why would you think of something like that?
it's not me.
Goodness.
Jason, where can people keep up with you?
You can keep up with me. I'm still on Twitter-ish. You can find me there at JAYR1085. And yeah, I am on the Blue Ski as well. You can find me there at JR33D on that platform. As far as podcasting goes, I was recently on the recap kickback with Chappelle and Mari, talking about the new show Cross and all that
Ooh.
has to deal with. We talked about the first 2 episodes. There has been talk of a return engagement, hopefully, possibly. Talk about the rest of the season. So we'll see if that happens. That's where you can find me. You can also find me on The Good Pod with me and Marissa Garza talking about the show The Good Wife. And right now, Elsbeth, as that is going in 2nd season, The Good Wife is more of a rewatch. So come on The Good Pod and listen to me and Marissa talk about that show. If that was your thing back in the day, come check it out.
All right. And y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha Like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. If you're looking for a gift for a family or friend, go find me on Cameo.
That's right. That reminds me. I gotta get my Cameo order in.
Go find me on Cameo. You can find me at Aysha Welch on there or Aysha Like Asia. So yeah. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, y'all have a happy Thanksgiving and or a great week wherever you are in the world.
Or, if you're like me, good luck getting through it. We're all here for you.
Right. Yes. All right. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.